In this video, I'm going to show you a problem that many people encounter, which is how to handle collision when creating props in the client context. So first, I'm just going to add a prop to my world. Just going to go ahead and reset that location. And in this case, I'm just using a cube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you first with the cube just in the main hierarchy with no changes to it. By changes, I mean context changes. I'm going to go into the world and show you it's got collision. See, I'm standing on it. Okay, so that's just in basic preview. Now I'm going to go into the multiplayer preview. I'm only going to use one player for the demo so that you can just see that it is multiplayer. It's just one player. That way I don't have to open multiple windows. And you can see, if it loads, come on. Still has collision. Okay, so this is the default context. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to put this into network context by selecting new client context containing this. Okay, and I'm just going to call this visible art because this will become relevant later. Okay, so I've got this hierarchy of visible art with my cube in it. Now I'm going to turn off multiplayer preview, go back into single player preview, and you can see, well, despite the fact that the geometry is all, or the character geometry is twisted, the object has no collision. And this is what people always have a problem with. So this is what client context does. Client context puts things on the client side, but it also eliminates the collision because in some cases you're going to want the collision server side or detectable by all the clients. And that's what this video is going to show you. Okay, so just for the sake of confirmation, when you put it in multiplayer mode, one player, same thing will happen. Sorry, this is going to take a little while. Just for the sake of clarity, I'm doing all this. See, no collision. People are like, damn it, I put my prop in the game and I have no collision. Okay, so this is how you fix that problem. Let me just select that back before I forget. Okay, so you have visible art is in the client context here, and you can tell client context because the cube underneath says client next to it. So now what you want to do, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new group, and I'm just going to call this prop collision demo. Oops. And that's the parent now, and underneath that I've got visible art. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another cube. It's the same size. It doesn't have to be. It can be any other kind of object you want. And I'm going to create a group containing this, and I'm going to call it collision. And I'm going to move that, and just in case it's not under the prop collision demo. Yeah, okay, it wasn't. So now this is in the normal context. So this should still have collision. And actually, I'm going to do one other thing just to make things clear for you. I'm going to make that one red, or pink, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to play it, and you see it's got collision. I'm on top of it, but you can see it. And you don't necessarily want two objects like that that are visible. But what you can do, and you'll see the same thing in multiplayer. Just to confirm, multiplayer preview. It's got collision. Multiplayer has collision. But you're probably all like, yeah, but I can see it, and I don't want to see that. I want to see the other object. Okay, well, that's simple. You make your collision object invisible. So come down to visibility over here. So you see I've got the collision folder selected. And the whole concept is that this is going to be invisible collision. And you go down to where it says visibility, and instead of inherent parent, force off. Your collision is now invisible. So now what I'm going to do, just to make this really clear, is I'm going to scale this up. Actually, see if I can do this. Just so you can see I don't get near the object anymore. You can't see it because it's invisible, but okay, so now I'm going to go back to single player. I'm going to hit play, and you see how I'm floating above it? But there's invisible collision there. See, I can't get near it. And of course I can't jump on it either. But you see I can't get close to it anymore. Now I'm going to do the same thing in multiplayer just to show you it works in multiplayer. See that? Collision is invisible. I'm standing on top of the collision. But my art object is still there. Now, in case you don't know why you do this, what happens is you can create really, really complex visible geometry and artwork and objects. But you don't need all that on the server side. You don't need to download that to every client constantly. So what you do is you have that all on the client side, so that the client loads all that locally, and then you only set up the detection of the collision so that the server can see, so that the server can also see it. And then what that'll allow you to do is create really complex models with really simple primitive geometry. So this could be a really elaborate object made up of 50 different little cubes, but with one giant cube on as like a bounding box outside of it for collision. And that way your collision doesn't need to be as complex, and it saves resources. And that's it. I hope this demo helps.